Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today we will show a simple tutorial on how to create a very simple chatbot, including simple database and email notifications, and all of that on our BotX platform. So before we start, let me just show you the final result of what we want to do here. So as you can see, the chat widget is down here. If we open it, I have set up only some basic, really basic nodes here, just for the purposes of this tutorial. So if we try something, for example, that, we can see some nice pictures and some more options. If I choose that I want a discount, the chatbot asks me about my full name. So let's provide that. And my email. So let's use our BotX email just for the sake of this tutorial. And let's hit enter. After which we will get a message that we will be contacted soon. So right now I should also receive the email. As you can see, the email just arrived, and if I open it, I can see that a visitor with, well, my name, it's myself, and the same email address uh, has sent this email. So not only that, I can also go to the simple database which exists here, and I will see that the last record here is basically what I have just input into the chatbot. So this is our online database using our DCS, the database data creativity system, how we call it, which is basically a cloud database with active parts. And this gives you very flexible options when it comes to online data manipulations and operations. From here, you can do pretty much anything further. For example, contact the third-party system using API and stuff like that. But without going into much detail, let's just show you how our chatbot looks like in BotX platform. So this chatbot is basically this one, my online assistant. And if we have a look in the training editor, and let's use GraphView, you can see basically the same paths that we have just used are basically set up here. So some services and discount, which asks for email. So we will try to reproduce it, and in this tutorial I will basically try to create this chatbot from scratch, so you can do it yourself. This website, it's very simple website. It's just a test page that I have set up for this tutorial. And if we open the HTML of this page, it's really just very simple. So let me just remove this line, which is a script that includes our BotX widget. Let's save it, and let's copy these new HTML without chatbot to our page. Okay, should be done. Let's refresh the page, and that's it. You can see that there is no chatbot here. So let's do it from scratch. So first of all, because we want to use our own database in data creativity system, let's say we want to create some very simple CRM. And let's use empty template, and let's use English. So our very simple CRM will have one very simple table. Let's call it, for example, leads, or we can use contacts. To be more precise, let's call it chatbot contacts. Let's go next, next, and finish it. And let's say that within these contacts, we want a full name, and let's call it like that. And we want also email. We can call it that. Let's save. Now, if we will enter the system, you will see that we have table, we can create new record here, we can update, we can delete, we can import from Excel. There are some further options here. And basically this will hold our data online. So this database is now ready. Now let's go to AI part, and let's start by creating a new chat robot. Let's call it my online assistant number 2. Let's go next. We want it to be chat robot. That's correct. In English, finish. Cool. Now let's go to robot detail so we can set it up. The first thing to set up here is maybe your email address, and let's use, for example, this one. And we also want the options suggestion. So anytime we choose any option in chatbot, we also want those nice buttons as suggestions to appear. So let's enable this wizard mode and save the settings. Now let's move to training editor, which is now empty, and let's create our 2 top level nodes. These are the training nodes. And I will just copy paste the text that I have prepared from the previous chatbot that I have shown you a few moments ago. So let's go here, what services you provide, and let's say we want to answer we provide this. And you can as well insert some, you have pretty rich options here. You can insert, you can upload images, you can insert videos from YouTube or video, tables. This is pretty much HTML. You can do anything you want here. And let me choose some simple picture that I have here only for test purposes. So let's use this beautiful picture here, like that. Yeah, that will do. Let's save this one. From here, we want to show 2 subcontexts. The first one will, for example, be about machine learning, and we will just insert some text here. It's not really important here, it's just for showing you the operations, how it's done. Let's just finish the second option with the same answer. Okay. Now for the second training node, let's use our discount example, and we will enter our text here. And now let's save these settings here. So now let's just try it. Let's test it, how it looks. So we will then move forward. And because we want to have our chatbot on our web page here, we must integrate it into the web page. So let's go to integration tab, And let's use the embedded website widget. Let's enable. And as you can see here is our script. All you need to do is just copy this script and just paste it to your web page. So I will paste it here at the end of the body tag. Let's save this page, and before we will publish the settings, let me just show you one more thing, which is the introduction editor here in the integration settings, because basically we want to show some welcoming message to user or to visitor. So let's just try this one. It's some very simple text, and we also want to show some introduction options in as buttons. So let's use, for example, this and this. Well, the only one that we have. Now we can, by the way, you can also create many rules here. So for different URLs and different web pages, you can create different introductions, and this basically gives you a complete flexibility, and you can basically react in more personalized way here thanks to these rules. The number of rules here is unlimited. But this we will maybe show in another tutorial. Let's just close this, and let's finish one more thing, because we want also our chatbot to have some nice colors. So let's just enable CSS, and we want to have it nice looking. So let's use, for example, our blue skin here. Here you can, in BotX, you can change absolutely anything. Absolutely any aspect of visual settings you can customize using CSS. So here we have a few predefined CSS styles, but mostly customers, they of course, everybody has own taste, so very often customers want to see their own different colors and pictures and design styles. So this gives you the ability to do so. So let's close this. And the last thing is also we will show the notification badge, and we want to show some bubble. By bubble, we mean that there is this nice bubble above the circle. Basically, you can ask a visitor if he or she has any questions. And let's show bubble after 5 seconds, for example. So let's publish these settings and these settings, and let me upload the new HTML. Okay, let's refresh the page. And you can see that there is nothing, which is absolutely correct, because before our chatbot will appear, we must first switch it on. This is the last thing that we need to do here. So let's switch it on, and let's now try to refresh the page. And okay, our widget is here, as you can see, and it is in blue colors. So after 5 seconds, we should have our bubble showing, and it is not showing because I have not enabled the behavior here. You remember the bubble is part of behavior editor here, so we must enable behavior. And let's publish the settings again. Now let's refresh, and you can already see that we have our notification badge here, and the bubble appears after 5 seconds. So if we open it, we have our introduction message here, and we have our 2 options that we have selected. So if we ask for this, we will see our nice picture with Oppenheimer and von Neumann with some further options. And discount is now asking for a discount, but it is not asking for our name and email. And this is what we will do now. So let's just go back to our training editor, and in this discount training node, let's open it and let's show the actions, and let's add new action, and we want to ask for input. We want this field to be named, let's say, full name. It is text, and let's name it, let's give it some label, and we want to continue by, let's say, we will call it ask for email. Now let's save this and let's create the subcontext here, which will be asking for email. And here we want to continue by asking for email, and we will also add this text here. And it is the same way as in the previous case. So let's show actions. Let's add the action. Let's ask for email. Call this field email. It will be email, like that. And also let's do one more action, but in the previous node. So let's save this thing. And in the initial node, we also want to hide the input. So hide input text box here, and let's save. And because we have changed the training data, we need to restart our robot. So let's do that. Should be pretty quick. And let's try to refresh. So Chatbot, let's say we are interested in discount, and you can see now it asks for a full name. Let's put name, and it continues by email. So if we do, that's it. And you can see that it doesn't continue by anything else because we haven't set it up yet. So we want to fix this, and here comes the next phase of this chat robot, which is creating the cognitive diagram. So you remember, we want to save our contact in our online database into our very simple CRM, and we also want to send emails. Now, any kind of functionality, be it this, let's say, very trivial from sending emails or saving data, or even more sophisticated functionality like deep learning or running your own code, is done in cognitive diagrams. So let's create new robot. Let's call it, for example, contact saver number 2, and it will be cognitive diagram. Let's go next. Let's finish. And let's set up our new cognitive diagram here. So here we have interactive editor. Let me just make more space here. And let's start by input data. Usually every cognitive diagram has some input. And because this is coming from the website, we want to, first of all, we want to convert our input from JSON. And we have our node here from JSON. And as we said, we want to save this information to our very simple CRM. So we will use memorize node here. And we can connect these nodes. So we will have here nice and beautiful JSON, and these input we want to save into our very simple CRM, into our chatbot contacts. Yes, and we want to save two items. We want full name, we want to save it into the full name, well, and we want email to be saved into email. This is very simple indeed. And also one more thing we want to do is to output data. So from input, we also want to say something. Well, because we want our chatbot to answer something. So let's say, for example, let's use this copy paste here that I have prepared. Thank you for your contact. We will answer as soon as possible. Let's save this and save the diagram, and we can switch on our contact saver number 2. Now let's go back to our chatbot, and after we asked for email, we want to continue here. After we ask for the email, which is the second field, we want to continue by calling our contact saver number 2. So let's save these, and let's also restart our robot, and let's just check that contact saver is running, and let's test. So let's refresh the page, and let's open our chatbot. We can also write it as a text here. Basically nothing stops you from writing it here, or some customers, they want to completely hide these input text field. It really depends, but you can use both in BotX. Because we have our own NLP engine, so you can just type, let's say, I want a discount, like that, and it will ask you for full name. So let's do that. Let's ask full name, and email will be or let's say our company email. Enter, and you can see this is output from the cognitive diagram. So the cognitive diagram was called, and it answered the text that we set it. And let's check our database if it was saved. And you can see that in our very simple CRM, we have our first lead contact here. And this is exactly what we have just done. And this is very flexible platform, as I said. You can update, you can delete, you have it everything under your control here. So this works very well. And to finish this tutorial, as we said at the beginning, we also want to send email, because right, if somebody asks you for something, somebody asks for a discount, you want to know that somebody asked for a discount, and you want to react as quickly as possible. So because let's say we are a small company, we will send email. Of course, in actually in any company, you can use, really, sky is the limit here. Email is just one possibility, but very often you want to call the HTTP API of your own system or any third-party system. You can basically send this information to your company database or to any other cloud provider's database. Using HTTP API, you can do pretty much anything. And with that information, you can also use any other functionality from our toolbox here. You can, for example, go to deep learning. So you can imagine that you can ask somebody in chatbot, for example, for, let's say, your house address, and based on that you want to determine the price of your property, and you want to do that for example using deep learning, to estimate or to predict, average the price of property. For example, this is just one example. When it comes to deep learning, really the sky is the limit. So there are many possibilities here. And just to finish this tutorial, we want to send email. You can also send SMS, but let's send email. And for email, first of all, we want again to get the input data from the JSON format. So let's go here like that. Let me just toggle this different styles of rendering. And here we want to use the single line ports. I will just show you why. We know that our input will have full name field, it will have email field, and it will also have the history field. These first two fields, well, these are those from the chat robot. You remember when we were setting up the actions, we had to give some name to the fields. And basically, this is it. These are those fields. But there are also some built-in fields which always exist. And one of them is history field, which is very important because it gives you basically some sort of map as what kind of communication, what kind of tree path has the visitor chosen, so you know basically what kind of nodes led to the notification. So let's add the history and send email. We want to send it, well, for purposes of this tutorial, let's use our email here, and subject will be notification from chatbot, and message, let's open this editor. I have set up some prepared message here. Basically it's a template, so anything starting with this $sign is variable, and you can see that we have full name, email, and history variables here. So let's save it. And because these variables are let's switch our Grammarly off. Because these variables are in message, we have to basically put them to message. So full name we want to put to message, email we want to go to message, and history we want to go to message, like that. Perfect. So let's now save this diagram and again restart the robot, and let's test. So chatbot is here. Let's go for discount. Let's use some name. So let's use something else. Let's say John, and my email will be, well, we can use, for example, again my same email here, and press enter. So thank you for your contact, blah blah blah. So our cognitive diagram has been called, and if we look into our CSS database, very simple CRM, we can see that John is here, and we will also check our email, which has just arrived. You can see notification from chatbot. If we open it, here it is. Visitor name John, email, and the history is here. So this is working very well. And that's it, guys. In the next tutorial, we will show you something more advanced. we would like to show you more when it comes to this deep learning. So maybe we will connect the chatbot with something fancy, some fancy example here using this deep learning. But you can also use anything else. You can run your custom code and call your system API. You can use pretty much anything you need. If you would have any questions, don't hesitate. Just let us know, send us email, and we are looking forward for next tutorials and for your messages. So thank you.